Welcome back, gang. We're just the beginning of the Devil's Highway here. Highway 191 as it's known now. And we're coming into, I think it's Clifton and then Morenci, which is one of the largest open pit mines in the country. And I know the GoPro's not gonna show it very well, but this right here is vast. I mean, this is a major descent right now, and just as far as you could see, it's just incredible. And you can see, from here, I can see at least 4 different towns from here, just seeing their roofs sort of reflect in the sunlight. So it's just crazy. So there's going to be a lot of this. This isn't the twistier part, though. There haven't been too many straight parts yet. Most of it's been these slow turns like this that I'm on now, that you could take it. You know, you don't even have to slow down from the 65-mile-an-hour speed limit. But I just wanted to share some of this view with you and try to explain just how ginormous it is. Yeah, there's Morenci over there. There's the mine. And we're over the Gila River. Morenci's way over there where the colored rocks in the mountain change. That's the mine. Pretty amazing. Elevation 3,500. Sleepy little town. School's already out. Seems like it's pretty quiet around here. This would kind of be an interesting town to explore sometime. It's a shame they're in such disrepair. There we go. And that was Clifton. Alright, Clifton's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to come back here and check something out. What do we got here? Oh, we got the DOC work crew going. That's Department of Corrections. Coronado Railroad. Wow. It's pretty freaky up towards the top of the mine here. You don't expect to see what you can see. This road takes you right through the middle of the mine. Morenci mining operations. Well, they have the cable internet. So this is a risk right here. A lot of these industrial vehicles, they come up here going to and from the mine, so I'm likely to be stuck behind something like this, in which case I'll just kill the feed. But wow, look at this. We were just down there to give you guys an idea of how far up we came, because I know the GoPro doesn't give you angles very good. they did get some rain in here last night, so that's kind of cool. Oh, wow. Lots of sand over here, so this may be runoff from the rain. We are seriously riding through the inner workings of the mine right now. Isn't that crazy? All these lifters, look at that. The slag elevators. Wow. Yeah, it smells industrial right here. If you could see the GPS there, see what's coming? Looks like someone threw spaghetti noodles on the ground. That's what's coming up. Oh, that's the road. All right. Let's see what we got here. Looking where I want to go. I just had not experienced a deep right like that on this road yet. A snake in the road for a minute there. Nope, the snake is the road. Makes me wish I had my PR4s. PR4s are great. Those are the beds of old dump trucks. The size of a 1,500 square foot house. Here you go, folks. We just drove through all of that. Me and you together. We just rode through all of that. Well, I'd be a little more encouraged if this road weren't so bumpy. Oh. I think we're officially out of the mine. and stuff in the middle of those turns. It is beautiful through here, though. Road's pretty bumpy. For some reason there's a flashing arrow on my GPS for this one, and I'm not sure why. Red squirrels. Right-handers get me sometimes. Wow. Another red squirrel. It's gonna run right out in front of me. So this Devil's Highway, let's talk about the name. Currently, This is Highway 191, US 191. It runs from Douglas, Arizona, all the way up to the border of Montana, right outside of Yellowstone, as a matter of fact. And that's what it's currently named, but originally, this started off as, I believe it was the 6th by route off of Route 66, which everybody knows, Route 66. And since this was the 6th road that cut off of there, it got the designation 666, as they've done with many of the other highways. This road is actually wet. It must have got rain here too. So it got the name Route 666. Now, talking about it being the Devil's Highway, there's lots of talk about why it's named the Devil's Highway. Most obvious would be the biblical reference to 666 and the number of the beast, and that one's a pretty easy jump. Also, too, for decades, this road was considered one of the most dangerous roads in North America, one of the most dangerous paved roads in North America. For decades, this road was under-engineered and overused, and when you consider the decades where it was the deadliest, cars themselves really didn't have the engineering benefits that they do nowadays. Traction control, ABS, all this sort of stuff. And you add those things together, and it made me pay attention to my right hand in creeping turns. Okay, not as bad as I thought. But if you add that combination together, you end up with one of the deadliest roads in the United States. And a lot of people were saying that's why it got its name, the Devil's Highway, because it took so many lives. Now, just a couple years ago, I attempted to do this route on my CTX, but there had been a landslide and a little bit of an avalanche. And there were a bunch of boulders in the road, and they weren't going to be able to clear the road in time. So I had to derail and not go here. So certainly, at any given time, this road can be treacherous and impassable. And it still is fairly treacherous. It can sometimes build your confidence by giving you some smooth spots and some great turns. Look at that. Wow. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you got a 5-mile-an-hour right-hander. And on an increasing grade, decreasing radius. So for that, I would say it's probably a good thing that the road isn't smooth, that it's checked with all sorts of frost heaves and cracks and potholes and things like that, because it encourages you to slow down. And for me, I'm about making it through this just fine. I'm not trying to touch a knee to the ground. I'm not trying to set a speed record for doing the Devil's Highway. I'm really just trying to enjoy the route. But back on point to where we talk about the Nissy. This is covered in sand and gravel. Ugh. If you'd have been leaning there on these tires, oh, not pretty. Anyway, back on point though, the discussion about this highway, there goes a deeper historical context to this highway. That I'll elaborate on, because you guys seem to like whenever I disclose a little bit of history about my area that you may not have known. So currently they've renamed this, after they renamed it 191, which was in the, I think it was in the early 90s that they renamed it, because, well, it was just time to do away with it, the superstition surrounding it, and quite honestly, I think for Arizona, the theft of the street signs were enough to encourage them to change the name, because everybody was swiping the 666. This highway was featured in a couple of movies, although they claim that Route 666 was, I don't know, outside of Nevada somewhere, or I mean outside of Vegas somewhere, which it wasn't. But at any rate, A little deeper history than, you know, the 90s when they changed it from 191, or they changed it to 191. They also recently renamed it the Coronado Trail, and this in and of itself doesn't, if you know the history of Coronado and the Coronado Trail, it doesn't necessarily lighten the intensity of this trail, of this road, given that Coronado was a Spanish conquistador, and this was the trail he took from Mexico to Colorado in search of the city of gold. You see, for the conquistadors in the area, they either, I don't know how you'd say it, they'd either create families with the indigenous people, the Native Americans. They'd either create families with them, which they believed was a legitimate strategy to quell any kind of insurrections or uprisings, or they just decimate an entire village. In modern day, we would call that ethnic cleansing. And all along this trail here, anytime Coronado and his team, his army, looking for the city of gold, would come across Native Americans and Native people from these areas, they would expect that they would be quartered and fed, and that they would do so without hesitation. And anytime they weren't, the villages were taken over and burned to the ground and destroyed. So all along the Coronado Trail would have been carnage. Now, it took several years for Coronado to figure out that he was being duped. He had a Native American who, in order to spare his own life, had fabricated a story about the city of gold up in the hills near Colorado, and how he could guide them there. And for years they traveled this trail trying to get there. They crossed through New Mexico, they headed up towards Colorado, and ultimately, you know, so naming this the Coronado Trail really doesn't lessen the weight of its namesake if you know the history. And I just find that interesting. I thought it was interesting that they changed the name from 666. Again, if you want to know why they changed the name, truth be told, they're probably tired of having to replace all the street signs. From people stealing them off the highway signs. I'm fairly certain that's it more than anything. That was costing more money. But one of the reasons why I wanted to come out and do this ride so bad is because there has been talk in Arizona of doing away with this road, just no longer maintaining it, and closing it. And I think that would be sad, because this is some beautiful area to access, although then it may eventually become strictly ADV dual sport motorbike trail, which would be great for that, I suppose. But I don't know, the way things tend to go is this would just be an isolated place that nobody could get to anymore. And I understand that there's a cost involved in paving this road and upkeeping it, and of course responding to any emergencies that happen. But I don't know, I just hate to see this little piece of Arizona history die away. And this is it, these twists right here, this is what it's going to be all the way to Alpine. Which means the majority of this road is done in second and third gear. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Wow. Holy cow, looking due west. Beautiful. beautiful. That is just gorgeous. I can't imagine what it looks like after the monsoons. Fella coming this way? Nicely done. How many wheels was that?